Hello, Ruby here from the Useful Journal. Something a little bit different for you today because this week I've been working on an artwork from washi tape that I am planning to enter in my local agricultural show. I think because of my ADHD, I need that deadline to push me to do something. And so I have been meaning for a while to create a lyrebird. They have a beautiful tail. Lyrebirds are an Australian bird that mimic, so they can copy a huge range of sounds. When you hear them in the bush, they just repeat one bird song after another, like bang, 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 bang. And that's how you know, if you can't see it, that's how you know that you're listening to a lyrebird, because there'll be a kookaburra 1 minute and then a magpie and then a whipbird and then back to a kookaburra. But then they also mimic human noises. They've been known to copy chainsaws and camera shutter sounds and all sorts of things. If you've been following me for any amount of time, I haven't done a lot of washi tape lately, but in the past I've done a lot of washi tape art, but it's always been in my journal. I've very rarely done an actual piece to put in a frame. The only time I have was for a competition in Japan, the MT washi competition, but they keep the artwork, so I didn't get it back. The good thing about this one is that I get to have it. So what I'm going to show you as I go through it today is what I've done and all the different phases and how I've organized it. And I hope you enjoy it. I started this piece without actually having a frame on hand and thought, yeah, I'll just go and buy one. But it is a large picture, so obviously frames are hard to find. Anyway, as it happened, my mother had a few old frames lying around the house, and I found one that is the perfect size, but there isn't room for this branch. I wasn't really happy with this branch anyway, so I am going to remove it. Fortunately, I haven't done too much yet. Now, the thing with washi tape is that it's removable. Let's hope that I can also erase the pencil marks. Hopefully the washi tape hasn't cemented them down too much. And then if I have any space for something, I didn't like what I'd done because it was too mottled looking. And look, some bark is like that. I realized that I would probably prefer it if it had longer strips. This is absolutely what I love about working with washi tape, is that if you don't like it, you can take it off. Even if you were doing paper collage, you're sticking that down with collage glues, so you can't remove those either. So this is a great form of art for people like me that aren't very confident with what they're doing and like having that safety net of being able to go back and change it. So here we are, going back to the start again. I didn't spend too long doing that bit. Didn't waste too much washi. That's the other thing. Washi tape goes a lot further than you think it's going to. Like, if you can imagine, I just get a strip of washi tape. In theory, I'm using, for that whole branch, like 15 centimeters of tape. It goes a long way, and I'm not wasting any because I use all the bits. So that whole branch, I've just got this little, let me get it, this little stack of washi tape that I've wasted. If you're really desperate, you could save it and reuse it. Now let's see if I can erase this. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's coming off. Yes, good. Now, what I'm doing to reduce the amount of pencil underneath, just in case, because some tapes are transparent and you don't want the pencil marks to show through. So, oh gosh, picked a hard one. Okay, see how that's transparent? You can see my finger. If I put that down, yeah, look, you can see the artwork through it. So the trick is to reduce the amount of pencil before you start. And obviously where there's lines, the colour's going to be slightly darker anyway. And if I'm concerned about show through, then I would erase it just before I put my tape down. Okay, so I've done the chest area now and the upper legs. I started with the darkest colour because I needed a thin line and I wanted it to blend in. If it had been on the top, it would have looked too sharp, and it's meant to be a shadow. So it's basically the shadow down the chest showing where the two breast plates come together on the bird. Then I've used, so that's that dark colour, and then I've used, these are my main two patterned colours. I did use a few, oh it keeps rolling away. I did use a few of this one, and you can see it's here, here, here and here. It was a little bit, there's too much yellow in it, I think, because these are kind of pinky colours, cool tones, and this is a warm tone. And so it stood out a bit. I switched to this one, which is almost an exact match for this one, and that blended in a lot better. And then to top it off, only because I'm using this one elsewhere, so it is a clear tape, well, it's a white tape with a chain of dried flowers. What I like to do is, this will be used as where feathers are sticking out on the edge, because I can cut around the shape of the print on this and it'll add some texture around the edge. And just to make sense, I like to draw it in elsewhere. So I've only got a couple of little bits in here. There's a bit there and a bit here and a bit here. And just by placing that there, it makes it look more natural when you place it somewhere else. Otherwise, you just have that bit there and you'd be like, oh, where does that come into this picture as a whole? So that is the chest, and being washi tape, I can tweak it later if I'm not happy with it. So I'm just going to put that over the top of that, and I feel better about that bit now. It was bothering me. Now, the other thing I do with washi tape pieces is I often try to take off the straight edge, because it can look too, it's just too sharp. Because this is the first layer, I don't have to get that edge perfect, because I will be laying stuff over the top. That's another thing I try to do, is the reason I started with the chest is because the wings sit. So imagine this is the chest, the wing sits over the chest. If you did the wing first, then the chest edges would sit over the top of the wing and the bird wouldn't look right. The same with this neck here. It fluffs out and sits over. And that has just made me think that perhaps I need to do the neck of the bird next, so that the chest, this little fluffy neck chest bit, will sit over both the chest and kind of blend out from the top of the neck. So next I will do the head. Now this head is slightly more grey in colour. Well, I'm going to do it more grey in colour, and I've chosen these. I may still use a bit of these two to kind of blend a little bit. So this is a pinky sort of beige, and I've gone for browny sort of greys rather than cool greys. Under the chin here, under the beak, I've got to put a little bit of a browny red colour. Now you will have seen in my tape selection that I had a whole range of browny reds chosen. I'm kind of looking for this russet sort of colour. And from them, I've just got to do this bit under here. It's also got a dark edge under there, so I want one that's slightly darker. Whether I use this or I do have these two, that would work well as a dark shadow, especially if I don't have this darker one in there. I am also going to have to do a bit of detail around the beak, and I might see there's a darker grey. I might use well, actually this is an olive. It looks grey, but it's an olive, but it goes with all the other colours I've used so far, so that's an option. I think for the eye I'm going to need these colours. I think the eye I will do in the black, just so it's really distinctive and stands out. If I end up deciding that grey shades will work better, then that's a dark grey that is still in that same warm grey colour group. And it may be better than using this one that has the kind of browny olivey sort of shade. But that might tie back in better with some of the other colours I'm going to use, like those reds. And then, see how this one's just too brown? It's way too brown. Okay, let's see how I go. I'm doing the head, and I just wanted to talk about the eye. The eye is quite a critical thing because it can really make or break your picture. I, in this case, have done a circle just in, well, it was more of a, anyway, rough circle in this plain black tape. But it looks a bit dead when it's just a black circle, and so you have to add a bit of light, like an eyeball will always have a bit of light in the corner somewhere. And so I have this tape, and what I've done is taken half of one of these circles and put that around that top edge, and then I've used a white dot. Now, one white dot wasn't dark enough, so I've had to add another one, and I may yet add another white dot. The other thing you could do is use silver or a gold if you want gold. It's better to keep it to a whiter tone, so silver would be better. I'm going to leave it as is for now, and then I'll decide later once I've done the entire body, because we can mess with the eye a bit afterwards, and see if I want that spot to be darker now or in a different position. Now, the other thing I've got to do now is, so you do the eye first because the eyelids go around it, and that will soften that black edge a bit. So I will now add the hair around it to frame the eye. The feathers, sorry, God, it's a bird, has feathers. Okay, so head and chest are finished. I'm reasonably happy with it. It was the hardest bit was definitely the jowls here, trying to get them to show properly, but I'm okay with it at the moment. I'm going to do the legs next, just to get them done. And something to note is that this feather should be over the top of the legs. So when I do the legs, I'm just going to slightly lift up this edge, and then I'll stick it back over the top of the darker colour when I have finished putting it down. Now, feet are difficult. I've only used the one colour. They're difficult because you get these, to get the very fine torn pieces, you get a feathery end that sometimes doesn't have the adhesive on the back. So you can see this toe is not quite sticking down. I could replace it with another piece, but I am going to seal this with a collage glue after I've finished, because that will help preserve it, because that will stay down once I've added the glue. Now I'm just doing a quick check for any gaps where I haven't got anything, and I think I'm good. So that is the undercarriage finished. Next, I'm going to do the tail. Now, I'm doing this bit because this, actually, but that's on top of these bits. So the wing is in front of the tail. So that wing edge needs to be over that tail. And you're so tempted to do that bit just to have the body finished. But I think in reality I should probably do these feathers next. The tail, these big tail feathers, because they're going to be at the back. And then all the other stuff is kind of in front of them. So that possibly will have to be my next move. Oh, it's annoying because you really want to finish the body, but I can't. I've got to work back to front. So I will do these big tail feathers next. So I'm working on the tail, and it's very interesting. A lyrebird's tail, I've got a detailed photo here. A lyrebird's tail is made up of all these separate feathers. You can see it curl around there and they go up there. And so one feather actually changes colour from black to brown to a darker shade. The patterns occur all along a single feather. And I was trying to see, so the end here is just a whole lot of individual little, I don't know what you call the spines of a feather, but anyway, you get the idea. And I was trying to achieve the same thing, but I think it's a little bit jarring. The rest of the picture will use torn solid pieces, and so I don't know if it's working for me, and I think I'm going to change it to going back to just solid colours and just having a rough edge because it's not quite what I wanted. And I'll get a better shape too. So I think I'm going to remove this bit. I've finished my first main tail feather. Lyrebirds have two, but because this one's going to have a lot of feathers in front of it, this one's a lot shorter, thank goodness, because it took quite a while to do that one. I'm just rolling. This is actually an eraser, which I'll roll over here. But I have also found that it's a good kind of compression roller as well to help the tape stick down properly. And I quite like rolling it over once I finish, just to get any loose edges. Yeah. So I'm going to now do this bit of the tail. Okay, so I have finished the bits of the tail that I'm going to do with washi tape. The remainder, I'm doing these feathery bits. It's quite hard to do feathery bits with washi tape. I could do it, but I'm quite keen to try doing it in watercolour to give a bit of a mix of finishes on the page. It looks quite cool, just something like that in these colours. So I will see. I mean, I suppose if it doesn't work, I can always put washi tape over the top of it. And then I've just got to do these bits of tail here and then the wings. So I think I'll do the body next, this tail bit, the fluffy bit, and then I might paint after that. I'll see. I finished the tail. It looks okay. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. Okay, this little birdie, lyrebird, is getting a bit exciting now. Finished all the main washi, well, I finished all the washi tape. Now I've just got to do the painting, and that shouldn't take too long. Okay, only thing left to do is sign it. I always keep it very simple. I am just going to get a fountain pen, and all I do is right near the bottom, I just do a little R. I'll have to show it to you this way because obviously it's the wrong shape. You can just see the edges there. We've got the bird, and then we've got the very impressive plumage. And I think my decision to do the watercolour in with the washi tape, I am really happy with. Okay, I have now finished this piece, which you saw at the beginning. The good thing about washi tape is that when you get paint on it, you can paint over a stroke over it and then just wipe it off on the washi tape. It doesn't mark it. So that's why I was able to do the watercolour last. And I think it's been a good decision. I like that it's much more feathery looking. It would have looked a bit heavy if it had been done in washi tape. I'm really proud of how this piece turned out. It's a bit big to show here. I've never had one this big before. I'm about to go and stick it into a frame. I hope you enjoyed seeing me make it, and that, hey, you never know, you might be inspired to try something yourself. I'll see you soon. Bye.